We are living right now in unprecedented times. We've got the global banking system on the brink of absolute collapse. We got the former Coinbase CTO calling for a $1 million Bitcoin by the summer of 2023. Bitcoin has just closed its most bullish weekly candle since the bull run of 2021. And although we cannot know for certain what the future holds, one thing is for sure. Bitcoin is looking more bullish now than ever. And we have a number of fundamental and technical indicators that are lining up, pointing to a massive rally in the coming months and years. So we're going to be diving into all of this in today's video. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and click the bell for notifications. There is money pouring into Bitcoin. This is not, we have seen $180 billion pour into Bitcoin during the past 2 weeks. That's almost a 50% increase in the amount of money in Bitcoin's total market capitalization. And as you can see, this is the Bitcoin market capitalization here on a chart, forming this very bullish inverted head and shoulders pattern. And we're currently right now coming up to a very important area of resistance. I call this the door to Pump City, because if Bitcoin can get more than, I would say, $550 billion in total market capitalization, it is going to be a very smooth move up to our next major target of resistance, around $900 billion. And as you can see right here, we are forming a bullish head and shoulder pattern with a target of around $800 billion. So why is all this money pouring into Bitcoin? Well, people are scared. We are seeing banks collapse. In fact, just recently, several major banks announced a coordinated action to increase US dollar liquidity provision in the global market through swap lines.
Simply flooded the system with money.
Yes, we did. That's another way to think about it. We did.
This is absolutely crazy. We are seeing the Federal Reserve and other central banks working together to basically give money to banks that are in trouble.
Where does it come from? Do you just print it?
We print it digitally.
The point is, people are losing faith in banks, and they are looking now at cryptocurrency as an alternative to the current corrupt banking system. And to add insult to injury, when Janet Yellen testified before Congress just last week, she basically said, if you are keeping your money in a local bank, you might be screwed.
Are they fully recovered? Every bank, every community bank in Oklahoma, regardless of the size of the deposit, will they get the same treatment that SVBP just got?
If a majority of the FDIC board, a supermajority of the Fed board, and I, in consultation with the president, determine that the failure to protect uninsured depositors would create systemic risk and significant economic and financial consequences.
Right, you might be screwed. So we have all these things lining up together. We've got money flooding into Bitcoin. Let's take a look at the actual Bitcoin chart right here. Bitcoin has broken out of a massive trend line from the all-time high, coming down to March of 2022. We have closed the weekly candle above the 200-week moving average, and we are also coming up to a massive area of resistance, which is going to be that $30,000 level. Now, if the Bitcoin price can come above that $30,000 level, in my opinion, this is going to open up the door for a massive move to the upside. Why is that? Well, when we are looking at a chart, we need to simplify things. We need to be looking at what is high and what is low, what is support and what is resistance. The Bitcoin price for the past few years had established a fair value in between the price of about $30,000 and about $55,000. This means the market was most willing to buy and sell Bitcoin between those two price points. And you can see right here that when we came down to the low, Bitcoin got to move back to the upside, and when we came to the high, Bitcoin got to move back to the downside. Well, now we've broken down below that fair value zone, but we are about to come back inside of it. And when we do, probabilities are higher than not that once we come back into a former fair value zone for any asset, we will actually fill to the top of that fair value zone. We saw this happen over the winter when Bitcoin had been trading in this fair value zone down here. Basically, after June, after the whole Luna thing went down, right, we had established a fair value zone. When the price came below, once we came back inside of that fair value zone, it was a very smooth move back up to the top of that fair value zone, right? This is how we are able to identify what is high and what is low, right? This is why we're able to take these trades in the Casper Crew VIP Discord every single day when we give our trade setups. We took the long from 19,552 because it was a clear zone of support. We took the scalp long from 24.031. We took even another long trade from 24.694. And as you can see from all these trades, it's because we're looking at the volume. It doesn't matter if we're on a low time frame or a high time frame. If you look to buy low and sell high and abide by these principles, it's more probable than not that they play out. By the way, if you want to join the Casper crew, where every single day we give our trade setups, we give our levels, we do 3 live streams a day. You can go to patreon.com/Jason Casper to take advantage of the volatility in these markets, longing and shorting on ByBit. Click the link in the description, guys. 0% limit fees, actually a great deal for people who know how to trade. If you don't know how to trade, please don't trade on ByBit. But I do recommend you learn if you want to. If you want to learn, you can check out the course at jasoncaspertrading.com. The complete blueprint on how to do this the right way and not just gamble, but actually set up a system so you can be profitable over time. 20% discount in the description of the video. Well, we can see right here that if Bitcoin does reclaim this level of $30,000, it could be a very, very, very smooth move back up to around the $47,000 to $55,000 area. Something else that is very bullish right now is the fact that we have closed above the 200-week moving average. This is unprecedented. This is historical because Bitcoin has never traded below the 200-week moving average until basically this big drop back in May. And when we lost that 200-week moving average, we had a massive move to the downside. Now that we have closed a very strong weekly candle above it, I believe we're going to see a pump that is bigger than most people expect. And as we see right here, there are 2 major zones of support and resistance that we need to be aware of in the immediate short term. Number 1 is going to be that $30,000 level, very, very key resistance. Key support is going to be that 200-week moving average. And then another very key support is going to be that $23.3 thousand area, where we have a golden pocket and a value area high of that old range. So what exactly is going to be happening with Bitcoin in the coming weeks? The way I see it, Bitcoin is looking bullish no matter what happens. And this week we have some very, very important news, right? The Federal Reserve is basically going to announce the rate hike. Are they even going to raise rates at all? Okay, well, let me move my face away from here so we can see what is happening. But basically, this is what the market is pricing in when the Fed makes a decision next week to raise rates. 35% say no rate hike at all. 65% say 25 basis points. Now, the Fed right now is in between a rock and a hard place because if they do continue to raise rates, we are going to see more banks get absolutely wrecked. Okay, but if they start to stimulate the economy, if they continue to bail banks out, if they lower interest rates or stop raising interest rates, this is going to increase inflation. So on one side, they're going to cause a bank collapse. On the other side, they're going to increase inflation. This is bullish for Bitcoin because if we see inflation go up, we are going to see the price of Bitcoin go up. And if we see more banks collapse, we're going to see more people FOMO into Bitcoin. Now, Wednesday, the decision will be made, and we need to keep our eyes on the dollar. Right now, the dollar is in a very important situation because as you can see at the top of the Bitcoin bull market, the dollar had bottomed out at this very important channel that we've been trading since 2014. And when the Bitcoin printed its bottom at 15.5K, the dollar was at its high. And we are coming right now to potentially come back inside of this range. Now, remember, we were talking about Bitcoin, saying if the Bitcoin price can get back into its old range, there's a very high chance it will fill to the top. The same is true for the dollar. The dollar and Bitcoin are inversely correlated, meaning if the dollar is weak, Bitcoin will be strong. So if we see the dollar now lose 103.509, this very important resistance that's been resistance since the year 2016, there's a high chance that we will see the dollar come back down to the low of the range around the 88-point area. And if we see this, this could really be the fuel that gets Bitcoin pumping up to some of those areas that we had talked about on the chart. The way I see it is this: if the Fed comes out and does not raise interest rates, that is going to give us a big boost for the Bitcoin price. If they come out and raise interest rates 25 basis points, that is still going to be bullish for Bitcoin. If they raise, let's say, 50 basis points unexpectedly, I think in the short term, that is going to be very bearish for Bitcoin, but in the longer term, bullish, because that is going to add fuel to the fire that is going to cause these banks to go under. Bitcoin was created for these times as an alternative to the corrupt banking system. So guys, it's going to be a really good week. And on top of that, of course, we do have the former CTO of Coinbase calling for a $1 million Bitcoin by the summer. Basically, he's willing to bet on it, right? He's willing to bet on it. I recommend you check this out, read this tweet. It's very, very interesting. I don't know if Bitcoin's going to hit $1 million, but we do see very, very bullish indications fundamentally and technically. Guys, that is it for today's video. Make sure to like, subscribe, click the bell for notifications. May God bless you all in the name of Jesus the Messiah. Even if you're not religious, I pray you are very blessed in many ways. And I will see everybody in the next video. Peace!